First, we want to thank our sponsors, Avatar Website Designs, Duncan, Social Indoor, and Western Municipal Water District. I'm going to hand it on off to Mayor Stone to get the party started. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us for our August Coffee with the City. You may notice some members of our executive team are not here this morning, and this is because we've switched the format from the Coffee with the City to allow you more focus on opportunities to engage with the city on specific topics, and I hope you like the new format today. Today we're focusing on public works and engineering, and they will provide you with an update. And after that, we will go with questions and answers. So with that, we have a current CIP projects coming up on Murrieta Hot Springs Road, traffic engineering capabilities, as well as public works maintenance roles and duties in the city. So I'm going to say hello and welcome MPT Warren for joining me today. And I think we're gonna start with Bob. Woo!
Thank you so much, sir. Okay, do you mind?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Would you like to go first?
No, that's fine.
All right.
I was supposed to introduce you, but.
Oh, sorry.
I can interrupt. Please.
I don't have it on my notes.
Well, thank you and good morning. I'm Bob Mailing, Director of Public Works, and welcome to the Coffee with the City. That's a department division or addition today or whatever. So it's the first. We're the guinea pigs going first of the first department to come before you, but we're happy to be here. Talk about things that Public Works and engineering do. To my left is City Engineer Jeff Hitch. Everyone loves to talk to Brian Stevenson, our consultant traffic engineer, because there's no traffic problems in the city. Also down at the other end of the table, James Ozoff, our senior civil engineer, does the CIP project. And also Garrett Strang, civil engineering assistant, working on different projects. So I'm going to turn it over to Jeff Hitch. I've been out of town for the last 5 days, and he put together his presentation, so I'm going to hand it off to Jeff, let him run through this, and be available for questions at the end. Take it away, Jeff.
Thank you, Bob. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here. This is always great. There's nothing that we like more than sitting here and talking about engineering work. So this is, we like to talk about how we build stuff here in the city of Murrieta. CIP is part of that. Land development is part of that. So, we're going to go through the CIP project, kind of a couple of project updates that I think you guys might be interested in this morning. Stuff that we have actively moving forward in our community. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about our land development work that we're doing, as well as our traffic engineering division and the traffic commission, kind of the stuff that's going on in that arena. And then Bob's going to close out with talking a little bit about public works and maintenance, what our maintenance division looks like. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to, I think, Mr. James Oza. I'm sorry, this is going to start off with our asphalt overlay, so I think Mr. Garrett Strang is going to take this from here. Do you have a microphone down there?
Yep. I just don't know how to turn it on.
Take it away. Here's for Garrett Strang.
All right, good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Garrett Strang. I'm a civil engineering assistant here with the City of Murrieta. It's my pleasure to give you a CIP update on some of the projects I've been working on. First and foremost is our pavement resurfacing asphalt overlay program. So first and foremost, we have the Clinton Keith and Date Street pavement overlay. This project was recently completed about 2 months ago. It consisted of hot mix asphalt overlay. Oh, sorry.
We have people online.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
There we go. So it consists of an asphalt overlay, grind, cap, typical overlay that we do throughout the project, or throughout the city. Next in the pipeline, we have Murrieta Hot Springs Road. This project will be going out to construction starting September 16th. The limits of work are from Whitewood Road to Margarita Road. Consists of a grind and overlay, correction of deficiencies in the asphalt, and correction to the bridge abutment where it crosses Warm Springs Creek Bridge. Estimated bid value is at $1.9 million. So again, we'll be starting this on September 16th, and it will run about a month. So just a heads up on that, we might see a little bit of traffic on Murrieta Hot Springs, but most of the work will be done at night, so it shouldn't impact the community. Coming down the pipeline, starting spring of next year, 2025, we have the Los Alamos Road pavement overlay. This will be from Lincoln Avenue to just past the 215 freeway. We will also be doing Antelope Road from Mapleton to about Scott Road, and we will be correcting Elm Street from Adam to Jefferson. And even further down the pipeline, we have the Jefferson Avenue rehabilitation project. So the limits of this will be from Murrieta Hot Springs Road all the way to Lemon Street, and then from Lily Avenue all the way to the city northern boundary on Balester. And also down the pipeline, we will have the Clinton Keith Road pavement rehabilitation project. That will be from the western city boundary near Coppercraft Drive all the way down to Whitewood. This project, we're estimating to be about $5 to $6 million, so it'll likely be split up into 2 different projects throughout the next 2 years. So that's another one coming down the pipeline. And next, part of our pavement management program, we have the citywide slurry seal project. This project will be starting construction about October of this year. It'll run about 6 months. So what we do is we slurry seal 25% of all local non-arterial streets throughout the city with various types of slurries. So we have a type 1, type 2, and a type 3, and it's contingent on the PCI rating of the streets, so the pavement conditioning index. We have studies go on throughout the city where we have a consultant go and check every single different street and the condition of that street, and based on that condition, we apply a different type of slurry. So this upcoming project that will be starting later this year will be doing 25% of all non-arterial streets, so all the residential streets. Next, we have the pedestrian safety enhancement program. So every year we get a certain amount of CDBG funding, community development block grant funding, and we use that funding to go and do pedestrian upgrades, so ADA modifications to curb ramps and things like that, making it safer for all of our pedestrians in the city. Oh, sorry. And that project will be starting around November of this year, with an estimated value of about $1 million. And I'll pass this along to Mr. Hitch for the traffic signal.
Thank you, Garrett. So we have a couple of traffic signals that are currently in the works. One is currently under construction, which you may have noticed, Washington and Weeping Willow is a brand new traffic signal that's going to be located there on Washington Avenue, just north of Calmia Street. There on Weeping Willow, if you're not familiar with that. And there's a church across the street, across the way, as the fourth leg. Most of that signal is actually completed, except for the poles are noticeably not there yet. Those poles, do you know when those poles are going to get stood?
Turn on should be within the next 2 weeks. We're waiting for Edison, their electric connection.
Those the last couple of pieces on that traffic signal. The next signal that we have that coming up in the queue that's currently in design is the Jefferson and Magnolia traffic signal. That right now that is servicing as an always stop controlled intersection. That signal is the next highest priority signal for that has met warrants for a new installation of a traffic signal. We have a rotating program where we will install new signals as funding is collected for signals that meet prioritization, and this is the next signal that would be on that list. I would expect that project to be in construction probably next year, as the project is still in design. Need to finish the design and get that work through, and then get it put out to bid for construction. Probably be springtime bidding. Probably, is that about right? Next slide. I'm going to turn this now over to Mr. James Ozoff.
Thank you, Mr. Hitch. My name is James Ozoff, Senior Civil Engineer. I'll be talking about the right turn pocket and also the Murrieta Hot Springs Road widening project. If you look at the top left picture there, you'll see that's the intersection of Murrieta Hot Springs Road and Alta Murrieta Drive. Imagine, if you will, the sidewalk being shifted over to the right about 16 feet or to the south. And at this location, we'll be adding a dedicated right turn pocket into the Murrieta Plaza. While it has its complexities, there is an underground pressure reducing station owned and operated by Eastern Municipal Water District, which you can't see, but it's just around the corner as you drive into the entrance of Murrieta Plaza. That's one of the first things that we have to relocate prior to building this right turn pocket. It's, as you know, Murrieta Hot Springs Road is one of our busiest streets in the entire city. And this intersection up to Murrieta Drive happens to be one of our busiest intersections, as it's the primary entrance into the Murrieta Plaza with Sam's Club and Trader Joe's. So, other improvements will include the construction of a raised median. Work will primarily be done at night between the hours of 9 p.m. and 5 p.m. We're currently working with Caltrans to get our encroachment permit for the purpose of traffic control. The estimated construction cost is just under $1 million. We did recently advertise the project. Unfortunately, we only received one bid, so we will need to re-advertise the project here in the next few months, with construction likely in the spring. Reason being is we have constraints of paving at night due to the cold weather. With that, that concludes the right turn pocket, and then I'll move on to the Murrieta Hot Springs Road widening project. As I mentioned before, it's our busiest street in the entire city. These improvements are a total of 1 mile in length from Margarita Road down to Winchester Road. However, the widening only will occur from via Princessa down to the new Date Street connection, where we'll be widening the street from 4 lanes to 6 lanes with a raised median in the middle. That will be landscaped. Landscaping will also be in the parkway. Other exciting news is there will be a traffic signal installed at Calle de Lago as part of this project. One of the most common calls I get in engineering is we need sidewalks on this stretch of road. So glad to share that on both sides of Murrieta Hot Springs Road along these limits, there will be sidewalks installed, there will be bike lanes installed, and there will be street lights installed. So as I'm sure you're all aware, driving through at night, it can be a little bit dark. So this will definitely be an enhancement. So with those improvements, that will connect Winchester down to our west side of town. So all of Hot Springs Road will now be 6 lanes with sidewalks, bike lanes, and street lights. The estimated construction cost of this is roughly $10 million. And we're currently wrapping up the plan specs and estimate as we speak. We plan to advertise this towards the end of the year with construction in the spring as well.
Next slide. Oh, there we go. So moving around a little bit, so now we're over on to Madison Avenue. So Madison Avenue is how many people have actually driven down Madison Avenue? So you guys are all very familiar with the condition of that road. We kind of talk about this from time to time. Madison Avenue was originally constructed as a 2-lane detour while the Jefferson Avenue was constructed to its current condition. How long ago was that? It would have been, you were probably around here back then, right?
Probably 2000,
2001?
Yeah.
So obviously about a 25-year-old road that's there was probably intended to be in operation for maybe a year or two for a temporary detour, and we've been kind of babying it along. So it's long overdue to get this road underway. Pretty substantial cuts and fills that need to be done in order to construct this road. So there's some pretty substantial detour routes that we need to construct in order to get around the areas, to be able to keep those businesses and residents open in the area. We're currently actively working through all of that. Our environmental documents are getting pretty advanced. I would say we're probably 75 to 90% complete on our environmental documents. Our plans are currently up to about 70% as far as moving that forward. And it is a secondary classification roadway, which will eventually be 4 lanes. Our plan right now is to only build as effectively a 3/4 street, which would be 2 lanes, 1 lane in each direction, plus a center turn pocket. We would be fully completing the western half of Madison Avenue, and then the eastern half would be left for development to finish as that comes up. All the storm drains would be built to their ultimate locations, so that wouldn't have to be revisited from an environmental standpoint. But there's several structures there on the east side of the road that we're concerned we'd end up having to acquire in right away which we don't want to do, which is why we're leaving some of the eastern half of the road off. So as far as a timeline, right away is we're probably looking at maybe starting early next year, and then starting construction probably the year after that. So it's a little ways out before we're going to be ready to construct that. And I think I'm going to advance through. Garrett, you want to talk about Menifee Road?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so the Menifee Road project. So this is what we call the ugly stepchild of projects. So, as you know, Clinton Keith Road has a connection point to Los Alamos Road. It's a small dirt road about 400 feet in length, and it's currently unpaved, and if you've ever driven it after it rains, it turns all potholed and very nasty to drive, kind of like you can see in this picture. So our plan right now is we want to pave a 2-lane roadway with AC dikes along the side, water quality improvements, and basically improve this connection from Los Alamos to Clinton Keith. And we are currently under the environmental studies part of the project, so working through that with the RCA and the wildlife agencies, and working towards the 35% plans. And we are expecting to start construction hopefully towards the end of next year, probably into 2026. So that's the current status of this project.
Let's go ahead and advance through these next two. I don't know that we need to address those. Let's move on to land development and traffic engineering. So we're going to switch gears here a little bit, talk a little bit about what the engineering department does. Land development is, there's I guess really two major components of an engineering department, like the way we're structured here. We're structured with a CIP division, so you have 3 of the CIP engineers between James and Garrett and myself, all actively working on CIP projects. And then we also have a land development division that actively works on projects that are brought forth through the entitlement process. So, and you see that actively throughout the community. We have lots of multifamily projects that you see going up and down the Los Alamos corridor. Cass is very excited about our land development, our multifamily project. Jefferson Avenue, we've got several in that area. There is a Home Depot that's currently being constructed on up on the Clinton Keith end of town. As you see in the photo, on the next photo, apparently you don't see in the photo. Here it is. Here's the Costco that was constructed, another example of a land development project. And this was a collaboration between the city and a major developer, Costco being a major developer. And this is one of the rare circumstances where a developer comes in, wants to build the project and works in collaboration with the city. The city got involved by developing a capital improvement program to build Warm Springs Parkway. We built that road. Costco built their facility, and there were agreements and whatnot in place in order to accomplish all of that. So it's an example of the way land development and CIP kind of go hand in hand sometimes on some of these projects. Land development is relatively busy. I have 2 engineers in City Hall that actively work on land development projects. Over this last year, in fiscal year 23-24, we had 51 grading engineering plan check submittals. Surprisingly, there were only about 20 or so off-site improvement submittals for, like, say, street improvement plans. So that's about what you see from our engineering plan checking operations that take place. We have 2 external consultants that provide us with engineering plan check services. They're overseen by our staff. And then actual permits themselves, in addition to taking in plan checks, once the plan check process is completed, we actually issue permits. Looks like we issued 33 grading permits, it looks like. Yeah, that's right. 33 grading permits in 23-24. And it looks like we had 7 street storm drain and street light encroachment permits. That number seems a little low. I mean, I need to verify that number is actually correct. But in addition to those types of permits, so your encroachment permits would be the construction of streets, like, as I indicated, storm drains, street lights, those types of things. And then we also deal with other common encroachments throughout the city, such as utilities. We had upwards of 144 utility encroachment permits. You occasionally see utilities, Southern California Edison, one of the 4 water districts that we have within our city, any of the dry utilities, communication utilities and whatnot. All of those, anytime somebody wants to enter the right of way, they have to apply for a utility permit. That all gets processed through our staff and our department. Our inspectors are obviously keeping track of what's going on in the community to make sure that appropriate traffic control and whatnot is put in place. Just gives you an idea a little bit about what our engineering department is doing, moving through that process. And then, of course, associated with land development is our traffic engineering division. Hit the next slide. So our traffic engineering division, and I'll probably let Brian talk a little bit about, in particular, the way he coordinates traffic signals and whatnot. But we look at any time a submittal comes in for the land development process, that submittal has to be looked at to determine whether or not there's going to be a traffic impact associated with that. Obviously, traffic is an important element to any municipality. We want to make sure the traffic is moving smoothly. There's a model that's established as part of the general plan. We don't like talking about general plan. That's a planning discussion, but we are part and parcel of that general plan, right? So, traffic model, circulation element is one of the main elements, or what we consider a main element, I should say, right, of a general plan. We want to make sure that traffic is going to stay in an orderly fashion as the city develops. As the city changes, new elements come in, the general plan has to change, the traffic models may have to change to move that forward. So as development comes in, we have to review those projects and to ensure that they are in conformance with that general plan document. So that's one of the main elements that traffic engineering develops. And of course, reviewing signing and striping plans and things of that nature, getting into the technical details of working through that. One of the other complaints that we get is obviously a lot of speeding through different areas around town. Everybody sees speeding traffic. If you live in Murrieta and you live on a residential street, you may see your neighbor driving 40 miles an hour down the street, and you're upset and you want to complain. And if you need someone to complain to, well, we are that body, right? So if you have concerns about speeding in the community, we are a resource to be able to look into that and determine kind of what's taking place. We get these comments from time to time, and we have a program called our Neighborhood Traffic Management Program. This program is established for the purpose of identifying, is there a problem within a neighborhood? Is there too much volume? Is there a lot of cut-through traffic taking place in that neighborhood? Are there things that we can do to implement to either help reduce cut-through traffic or speeding concerns or things of that nature throughout a community? And those are things that we look at and analyze. We'll put do traffic counting measures in some of those neighborhoods. Take a look and see what things can be done to try to improve what's taking place there. And we have something called a traffic commission. That traffic commission is an advisory body. It's not a full voting body like, say, the planning commission or the city council. But they do vote on items, but they're voting as an advisory body to city staff and an advisory body to city council. But there are 5 commissioners that are made up of members of the public that are appointed by the city council. And the purpose of this body is to provide input to the community. So the community comes in, they want to see something different. We can bring that to different than what's there currently. They want to see, they want to have some new speed limit signs established, for example. They can bring that request to our staff. We may either agree or disagree with the request of the resident. We can bring that to the traffic commission. Or the residents can go directly to the traffic commission and raise their concerns. So that's what the purpose of that traffic commission is. We can have a meeting of once a month with the traffic commission. They don't generally meet that frequently, and it's the 3rd Wednesday at 6 o'clock is when the traffic commission normally meets. Brian, would you care to talk about our traffic signal coordination?
Yeah, thank you. Good morning. Brian Stevenson, contract traffic engineer for the city. So every year, we try to update one of the main corridors in the city in terms of signal timing so that we can get the majority of traffic along the roadways and to their destinations. So we've done Murrieta Hot Springs Road 2 years ago. We did Clinton Keith last year. And then right now, we're going to be retiming Los Alamos Road from Hospitality Place, which is the signal just east of the 15 overcrossing, all the way over to Whitewood. So we're going to be performing some counts in the very near future, and then we have a software that helps update the timing along the roads. We did just have a couple new signals installed as part of the Bridges project near the high school off Monroe. So we'll be retiming that and hopefully being able to get residents along the street much faster. The main purpose of coordination timing is to reduce stops and delays. So when signals are in coordination, you might experience a little bit more delay if you're on a side street where there's a lower volume, but our purpose of the retiming is to get everyone along the majority of traffic through the corridors for the reduced emissions and stops. We also have an adaptive signal timing project that we prepared a grant application for a few years ago to the state through the HSIP, Highway Safety Improvement Program grant application process. We received that grant, which is funding 50% of the cost of this, and the city has the other 50% matched through private development contributions and city contributions. But what this means is that of the roughly 115 traffic signals in the city, we're going to be replacing the controllers in each of the cabinets. We're going to be installing a new software at City Hall's Traffic Management Center, and we're going to be able to more efficiently get traffic through every intersection of the city. There still will be stops, but it'll flow much better as soon as this project's completed, which we anticipate by the end of next year.
Could you talk about this synchronization timing? What times it's
The synchronization timing that we use is mainly based off daily traffic volume counts. So sometimes you'll see a black tube across the road. What that's doing is that's collecting data for us, usually over a couple-day period, maybe a week period, and letting us know which times a day has a heavier eastbound flow or westbound flow or northbound flow. And so we use that data to time the signals so that, let's say the volume in the eastbound direction is higher on Los Alamos, people are trying to get to the 215 freeway in the morning. And then in the afternoon, usually they come from the freeway to their homes. So we would synchronize the signals to the freeway so that the light goes yellow, then yellow, then yellow, then you hit the freeway. So we can get you to the Caltrans interchange as quickly as possible.
The actual hours of that, and which corridors?
So, yeah, Murrieta Hot Springs Road right now, for instance, I believe is coordinated with a certain timing plan it's a westbound direction from Margarita Road all the way to Madison Avenue. And it's westbound for the morning, and that goes from 6 a.m. I think to 11 a.m. And then there's a midday plan from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And then there's a p.m. plan from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. And that's all based on the actual traffic volume counts at the intersections. So we do get calls from residents that are sitting at a light thinking the light should change because there might not be a person on the opposing direction, but it is in a coordination plan. And once we have the adaptive timing in, our signals will be able to recognize that and adjust if the time is available in the controller.
Brian, can I ask one question for the public? When there's an emergency vehicle that goes through our town and it trips the light so that they can get to an emergency in a quick fashion, how long does it take for that resynchronization to take effect again?
So, good question. So right now, ambulances and fire trucks have emitters in all their vehicles, not police cars, just ambulances and fire trucks. So they will change the signal to green as soon as the strobe in their light bar recognizes or sees the signal. Once that vehicle goes through the intersection, it takes 2 to 3 cycles of the signal to recalibrate and get back to its standard timing.
Thank you.
I would like to add one more thing. We do have one more signal that's under design right now, the intersection of Clinton Keith and Nutmeg Street. That already has a traffic signal, but the Nutmeg approaches to Clinton Keith don't have protected left turn phasing. That was warranted. We have a warrant analysis that we prepared. So it's currently in the design stage to install left turn phasing there, and we anticipate advertising that probably next spring.
So now we're going to move on to Public Works Maintenance. Bob hasn't talked enough, so we're going to let him go on a little bit.
What? I didn't know I had a part of this presentation. Thank you. Briefly talk about Public Works Maintenance. The folks that you see out on the streets, you see in the parks, you see taking care of the city facilities. They do a lot of work behind the scenes. You have to see them out there patching potholes, cleaning storm drains. This is our roadway division that actually has equipment that can clean out during some of the big rainstorms that were on. Back in 2018, we had to actually get that backhoe out and actually clear some drainages from the golf course that was causing flooding down by Via Princesa. These folks do setups for the night market. They do night work. They come out there on call for any type of issues that happen at night as part of a traffic accident. They were out there setting up barricades. They're part of the evacuations for the fires that were going on, putting out closures for roads and things like that. So road divisions are always on call, always available. Next slide, please. Like I said, the facilities, every city facility you see, the facilities folks are out there, whether they're taking bees out of a roof, whether they actually have something wrong with the plumbing. They're people on call to keep the city's facilities up and running and do some long-term maintenance. And next slide is the parks and landscaping. These are the folks get most of the calls that I receive are landscaping complaints, and we'll send people out to try to stay ahead of those things, the corridors around town. But one of the gym that we have here in town is actually the Town Square Amphitheater, beautiful facility. They're in charge of that, trying to keep that grass green from all the different events that we have out there for the concerts and things. It's a beautiful facility. I love walking around that when I have time during the day. But I just realized that those folks are out there working day and night. We have 53 parks they have to maintain on a daily basis. If you have any concerns, complaints about facilities, parks, or roadways, please call me. I'm happy to talk to my division departments and get the people out there to fix things, because we can't see everything. It's happy to take not complaints, but just observations from, I'm not saying they're all complaints, but observations, because we're not everywhere, but we don't see things on residential streets as well as you do. So please call me, let me know, email me. Happy to take those issues and get those resolved, because we're trying to make things great in the city. And I think that's the end of our presentation. Next slide. I think we're back to the opening slide for the chamber. I believe that. Yeah, I think it's okay. But that's it for us. We're actually here happy to open up the questions and turn it back over to the mayor.
Great. Thank you so much. I want to share a couple of things with you. These three gentlemen to my left, I drive them crazy. I just want you to know that. I walk on the first floor into their department, and they start to laugh because they know I drive them crazy about the synchronization of the lights. So just know that we hear you. We live here. Council lives in our city, and so we see and hear everything that you see and hear, and we are always fighting for quality of life. I'm also really excited to hear about Murrieta Hot Springs widening, and that we are moving forward with that. So thank you so much to our entire team, and I hope you loved the topic today. This is really important for us to educate you in how we're reinvesting in our community and how we're dealing with the infrastructure as we have potential new growth in Murrieta. So with that, I want to thank everyone for being here today. Thank you so much, and we will open up to questions and answers. And Casson is last, so let me just say that. Wow. Is there anybody that has a question for our team? Yes, ma'am. We're going to give you a microphone because we have people online.
Sorry. Thank you. I'm a long-time Murrieta resident, and I do use the 215 to get to work. I have a very lengthy commute on the days when I have to be on the office. So I really appreciate how proactive you've been with all the multifamily new units coming on Los Alamos and on Jefferson side, or heading south towards Temecula. So I just wanted to ask, once those multifamily units have residents living in them, will there be more updated traffic counts done to see what the traffic situation is like? Thank you.
I would assume all the projects were approved by the city and the traffic department and engineering, but we do annual counts, try to have those available for people that want to have counts throughout the city. So once they open up on Los Alamos, once they open up on Hot Springs, Jefferson, we'll probably be counts around there just to see how it's capacity-wise, how our streets are functioning, whether it's a different level of service, if there's additional volume on those streets. We'll take a look at that and see if there's anything that can be done in terms of improvements. But yes, most definitely.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Felicia Horton with Bike excuse me, Bike Temecula Valley, we're a bicycle coalition. It's not a question, I just want to let you know that Bike Temecula Valley, the coalition very much wants to work with the City of Murrieta to improve the bike trails, to increase bike trails, and to keep all of the cyclists safe. So we would love to work directly with the city on that.
Well, thank you. It's a great mode of transportation if we get people to ride their bicycles to work or from work, but also recreationally. But thank you very much.
This one in the back.
And just, everybody, if you don't mind, this is a portion for questions. We want to make sure that we're making sure to ask everything that we can to make best use of everybody's time.
Good morning. I'm Jill Eaton. I'm the Executive Director at Susan G. Komen. I just want to tell the city thank you so much for recognizing us as a signature event. Our walk is coming up at the beautiful park and amphitheater. It's going to be taking place on Sunday, October the 13th, and just wanted to say thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I think we have a city team coming together doing that.
Pink tutus and all.
Looking forward to that.
Any other questions?
Is it premature to talk about the Olympics 2028? And then if it's not, what are the plans? How is the city going to be involved? If there's any portion with traffic, with roads and all that?
Justin,
I don't think we've really looked at it for 2028. I think we would probably see some of our hotels, motels filling up because of the equestrian portion that's going to be out in Galway Downs in the city of Temecula. You have boon of traffic going down the 15 and getting off at the 79 South going out towards Temecula Parkway. But yeah, we look forward to the actual hotel and motel use that's going to come with that in 2028. So it's a good point. We'll take a look at that and see what we need to do to get ready for that as well. I know it's supposed to be a carless Olympics. I believe that when I see it. I know they're also trying to buy or rent 30,000 electric buses or natural gas buses in and around the LA area. So I'm not sure how that spills out into Temecula and Murrieta. But I'm happy to be a part of it. It'll be interesting.
Maybe the Jetson era will come in.
But thank you for the question.
Any other questions? Yes, ma'am.
Good morning. I love your new format, but I feel like we are not getting to hear from Scott. All the economic updates and businesses. Come on, Scott.
What would you like to hear?
Everything.
I think it's a blessing, actually.
Give it to us, Scott. Come on.
Feeling the love.
So this is not Scott Day. Scott Day will come. There'll be a PowerPoint. We'll talk the entire time. But I will say, if you have not tried Capriotti's, the sandwich shop opened up yesterday. They have an 18-inch sandwich, the Bobby. It's 2,330 calories. I had it yesterday. It was fantastic. It's stuffed with cranberry and turkey and stuffing. Make sure you go over and try it out. They're brand new. We want to support new restaurants. Some more new restaurants open, so please take a visit. Best Pizza and Brew coming on later this week. No, he didn't finish the sandwich.
You didn't finish it?
You did not. Oh.
Wow.
I did not finish it.
Any other questions?
All right.
If I'm last, I've got several regarding engineering.
Wonderful.
Thank you. So first and foremost, last month I asked several questions about engineering. And I want to recognize and thank Bob Mailing, because last week he sent me an email with a very comprehensive response to all of my questions, and it's very much appreciated. So thank you, and that deserves a round of applause in my opinion.
I do have to tell you, he did spend a lot of time on that, just so you know.
Oh, no, I know. Yeah, no, which is why look, I stand up here frequently and criticize, but it's important also to recognize and compliment, so thank you very much. Madison Avenue from Guava to Elm Street, there are some significant undercrossings. Will the storm drain structures that are going to be constructed as part of the interim, will those be extended all the way to the ultimate, so that when a developer comes through, they'll have a connection point, or will they have to pick up You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, we are planning on building to the storm drain facilities to the ultimate. We only, you only want to have to do those environmental permits once. We plan for that, and that's what the current plan is.
Excellent. There was some mention about at Nutmeg and Clinton Keith about left turn phasing. Washington and Nutmeg during school AM peak and PM peak has long been an issue. Is there some way, because of the lack of queuing, because of Plaza de Oro, is there some way to rephase that to alleviate the queuing issue on Washington?
When the improvements go in for the Washington Apartments project that's currently under construction, as well as that other parcel in the southeast corner, we'll be able to get the second through lane in Washington, which will be some relief and add capacity. What we did roughly 10 years ago is we put in a right turn overlap for Calle de Oso Oro to southbound Washington so that they could go concurrently with the northbound left to get vehicles through there. That intersection is plagued by 3 schools, Coal Canyon, Thompson, and Murrieta Valley. And during those morning and afternoon rush hours, we fine-tune that as much as we can, but it should be a little bit better here in the near future. I'm told by the end of this year, the street improvements should be in for the Washington Apartments project, which will have the sidewalk, curb, gutter, street lights, and we'll be able to retime the signal then.
Great, thank you. 2 others while you were talking about the schools. So with what's going on at the school district, which is a completely separate jurisdiction, there has been talk based on their projections that they may have to go to dual session and that Chavela and Thompson are at capacity. And looking forward, and they would have to then, parents would then have to transport their children to Warm Springs, which means people on the west side, if it's dual session during AM peak on Hot Springs, going eastbound, and then during PM peak, the same thing. When will the cities, if you haven't already, start to anticipate and, for lack of a better word, work with the school district to understand how we may be able to manage that traffic? Because while the school district is its own independent governmental agency, we, the residents in the city, are left with those impacts.
I would say from an engineering standpoint, we have quarterly meetings with them talking about existing traffic around schools, try to improve school traffic, safety, and all those kind of things. The actual future planning, I would probably leave that up to our Development Services Department, David Chansarangsu, and also upper management to have those discussions, those hard discussions with the school district, saying, you're an impact to the city. How are you going to work with the city to make those less? But I appreciate the question, Cass, and we'll raise that at our next conversation with the school districts.
Okay, and then finally, and this is a little off topic, but Bob, you mentioned it with the fires. And I'd like to see this for a future. We've got a big equestrian community here in town. And my family we've had horse ranch for 40 years. And one of the things when equestrian people see smoke up in the air is they start to mobilize. And several times in the past, when people have evacuated their large animals, they just show up at private ranches, including at my ranch. As a matter of fact, I think it was 3 years ago, Lori, my little sister, called and I gave her Lori's phone number and Jonathan's phone number, and she took them to task because the equestrian center wasn't open to accept evacuees, and we had already accepted 7 horses on our private ranch. So with these last set of fires, we started to mobilize, and we actually headed over to Los Alamos, as we've done in the past. And we fight traffic, and then when we get there, the police lets us through. So my thought is that we probably need to come up with a proactive plan, and I'm looking to the electeds to deal with police and fire and probably public works. But my thought is that we develop, maybe have some community meetings with some of the equestrian people. We develop a pre-planned staging area or a couple throughout the town. where we can automatically go and then PD knows where we're going to be, incident commander knows where we're going to be. They can send somebody and escort us in to evacuate. It's kind of unconventional from what I understand. I've had some conversations with some of our upper management and kind of iffy, but knowing our equestrian community the way it is, I think it's something we should really think about, because right now it's unorganized chaos. We're going over there anyway. There's no organization to it. And so I think that's something that we probably should look into. Thank you.
Thank you, Cass, and I agree with you. There's always a layer of communication. Always we can better ourselves, and I would like to work with you on that, actually. So thank you for bringing that up. And now I'm going to hand the mic to MPT Warren.
Mr. Klein, you did bring up a very valid point on that, and I too would like to sit on that, maybe together, and maybe with Justin and Kristen, we can come up with something that'll be easier to understand. You guys know where you're going, and then as needed, you will go into the fire zone. So I think that might be a good idea. So thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. I have some great things coming up I want to tell you about. The 9/11 Memorial Ceremony is very special to this community, and it will be held on Wednesday, September the 11th at 5:30 in the evening at Town Square Park. And we would love for all of you to come out and wear your red, white, and blue, and let's honor those that lost their life on 9/11. It's a very tragic day, but a very wonderful day for us to remember those. And Susan G. Komen, More Than Just Pink, is happening on Sunday, October the 13th, starts at 8 a.m. And yes, there is going to be a Murrieta team, and if you see a lot of pink tutus, you can blame this one right here. I love our mayor, but pink tutu is not my thing, but I will do it. It's at Town Square Park, and we hope to see everybody involved in that. There's a new concert or event coming to town called Rocktoberfest on October 19th and the 20th. Going to be held at our beautiful Town Square Park and Amphitheater. Tickets can be bought at SoCalRocktoberfest.com. It is going to be a blast, and I understand there's going to be some breweries there for some good sampling of stuff. So please come out and join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I do believe it will not be quite as hot as it has been lately. That's our hope. And the last item I want to talk to you about right now is Dark in the Park Trunk or Treat event. This is a very special event for our kiddos in the community. And it's going to be held on Friday, October the 25th, again at Town Square Park. And if you're interested for events about the updates on what's happening that evening, please go to marietaca.gov/events for updates on this event. And with that, I will pass it over to the mayor, and thank you again for joining us this morning.
Thank you, MPT. I'd like to talk about the Susan G. Komen More Than a Pink event for a second.
Okay.
We challenged our neighboring cities to compete city to city. And so we're going to encourage you to join the Murrieta City team so we can win the largest team in our region. So it should be on our website soon, I believe, where you can join our team. So please, this is a signature event for Murrieta. It's about education, early detection, raising money for those that are underserved, and we invite you to join us. In addition, with Michelle's Place and Susan G. Komen on Saturday, October the 5th at Town Square Park will be our annual live pink Cuban ribbon. Our goal is to be the largest live human pink ribbon for, what is that organization that when you are the largest? Yes, thank you. We're hoping maybe not this year, but in the future. So we encourage you to come out. It's free. It's at 9 o'clock in the morning. It takes 10 minutes. And wear pink from head to toe, please. So with that, again, I want to thank the Chamber team always for putting on such a great event. I hope that you liked our theme event here today. It's really another layer of communication of how we're investing back in our community. And again, I want to thank our entire team for being here today. And also MPT Warren for joining me. So with that, if you have any additional questions, you can approach any of us. We're going to hang out for a little bit and have a great rest of your day, and God bless. Thank you.